Well, this is going to be just a little bit of a narrative about some of the wonderful experiences I've had here in Japan. You'll see pictures of the skylines of many of the cities, but this is typical of what the skylines look like in various areas where the cities have mushroomed from virtually nothing, I suppose, before the Second World War to what they are today. This is just a picture of the leisurely relaxing mode I've been in much of the time. Here we are on a commuting rail. One of the things notice about Japanese people on the trains is that most of them get on the train, immediately fall asleep, and how they ever manage to get off at the right stop, I've never been able to tell because they look as though they're sound asleep the whole time. Most of the people will stand when they recognize an older person, but sometimes they're sleeping. That may be a good way to avoid having to get up and give your seat to somebody. I don't know. Now I'm not sure what we have. Let's see here. This is a shot of one of the trains, commuting trains at the rail stations in Osaka. The trains run constantly, like from Osaka out to Kawanishi, where Curtis and Yoshiko and the children live. Here's another picture showing how how the people are lined up waiting to get on the trains, and this is the interior of one of the Shinkansen trains. The Shinkansen are the very high-speed trains that you ride between major cities. There may be half a dozen stops, say, between Osaka and Tokyo. This shows a compartment on one of the trains that I was riding to Hakata. The man that I met on this train was a Japanese gentleman who was a teacher teaching physical therapists at the university in Hakata, and he was on his way out. He was very interesting and it was a very nice conversation. Actually, this was on the way to Shirahama, which is a beautiful seaside spa type resort. Here's another random picture of skylines along the way. Japan's cities are very much like any American city you would see as far as the development and the contours of the skylines. They have gorgeous skyscrapers, and their buildings are very comparable to ours. Here's a rural scene going along towards Shirahama, and this is a beautiful countryside. You can see a few cherry blossoms off in the distance in this picture. I didn't get there during the height of the cherry blossom season, but you will see that I've seen many lovely cherry blossoms. One of the most impressive things to me has been the absolute perfection of their gardening and their crops. This is typical of a cropland where they have gardens laid out exactly to their design. They're perfectly contoured. They're cultivated. It looks like they go through with a vacuum cleaner every morning to clean the rows between the rows. If you are like I am and thought Japan was just an island that was mostly flat land, it really is a big surprise when you realize that it's a very mountainous country. And of course, this is probably because it was formed out of volcanic eruptions, and it is high mountains all along the way. You never are without a mountain view as you travel. This is another picture of one of their gardens. You'll see these little white coverings. These are all little individual greenhouses that are put over plants to protect them from nighttime cold or from any unusual weather circumstance. Beautiful, panorama of gardening scenes all along the way. Here again, you see the greenhouse coverings that are put over plants in the foreground, with the mountains and the village in the background. Again, the idea of the land, the contour being so very mountainous and hilly, and yet they have used every square foot of land that they can to garden and to cultivate. Even going up the mountainsides, you just don't see anything that looks like it would be the least bit wasteful as far as the use of the land is concerned. I don't know how they've managed over all these years to keep that land so productive when they've kept it in constant growth, crop development. This is a map showing some of the places. I think this is out to Hakata. Hakata is a very commercial area, and it has many, along the way, many large, or it looks like refining installations. It's a very, very economically active area. This is in Shirahama, where I got off the train and wandered around their little square for a while and had lunch in this place. This is the inside of the restaurant that I ate in, and I had a delicious Japanese lunch there with rice and vegetables and very nutritious. And here's a little sign that they've got going out of the main square. See you again, Shirahama. And this is the interior of one of their little gift shops. They're beautifully displayed. They're very, very artistic in the way that they arrange their displays of items that they want to sell to tourists. Nicely done. And this shows the entrance to the station that I came in on. Again, this shows the map showing where Shirahama is in comparison coming into the area from the rail station. Now this, I'm not sure why I have this in there, but it's a collection of the many pictures. Returning back from Shirahama, going along the countryside, I saw lovely rural pictures like this of little communities. Very nice. And the ocean was right by the rail, or I should say the railroad tracks were right by the ocean. I kept wondering if they had a high tide or an unusually heavy sea. Seemed as though the train tracks would almost be too close to the ocean to avoid being covered over. Again, you see there's a large fishing economy or industry, of course, in Japan, and I saw many things that I couldn't even begin to describe that looked like something like maybe crab pots or something like that out in the ocean. This is the town of Hakata, and it has this sign in one of the stations saying it's the birthplace of soy sauce. I thought that was rather interesting since we use soy sauce so heavily in the state. Here's a beautiful picture of the view from the train through the mountains out to the ocean side. Again, this is a very indicative of a lot of the industry of the area. They have these they have a lot of high smokestack burning type installations, which are very, very typical of some of the industrial complex. I think now we are through that